Hello, seekers of truth, wisdom, and light. This is the recently hibernating Reverend Eliot coming to you live tonight, and I'm going to give you the date, which I rarely do because it's important. It's April 26th. Just so you know, I am live tonight. The last time I was live was the February 22nd, and as I recall, I said, I think I feel like I'm getting a cold. And, of course, for the next 60 days, I was under the malinfluence of influenza. I had a flu to beat the band. I had a miserable, horrible, disgusting flu that wouldn't let go. So I missed the last 2 months. And I had a few things I wanted to talk about. So if you don't mind, I'm going to spend the next, 60 days just talking to you right now. I'm commandeering this. I'm going to filibuster and just speak for 60 days. Or maybe you'll just talk for a few minutes, and then we'll spend the rest of the 60 minutes taking phone calls. That's what I used to do. Isn't that what I did? I would read the cards. Gosh, it's been strange. And, you know, I don't know if I even can talk because cabin fever set in after a few weeks, and it's just odd. It was just so strange because I would come close to being able to. I said, I'm going to go on. I'll go on. I'll make it this Wednesday, and then of course I couldn't do it, mostly because my voice was shot. And radio, of course, it kind of depends on voices. So without my voice, that was, without a song, right? Nothing came out. Nothing came out at all. So here I am, about 22,000 aspirins later. Lots of calls to the doctor saying, what is this? And, of course, it wasn't that big thing. It wasn't that thing because I had that thing in 2020, and I am not getting that thing again. And here, last year in March, I had a flu too, and I missed about a month or so. But this is closer to 2 months. So a lot has happened in that time in terms of world history. But something, we don't really care about that here. I'll tell you why. Because I get asked about that. Why don't you discuss current events? And first of all, my nose is still a little clogged up. First of all, you can get that current event stuff any place now. It seems like that's now. There was a time when on cable TV they would exploit stand-up comedians, and they were all over. And then they went to fashion models, because they're a little cheaper and quieter than stand-up comedians. And then Then they discovered news. And holy mackerel, they say, here's something that's changing, and we can get people angry with it. And when you get people angry, they're going to tune in and listen. And what better yet, you can get people afraid. If you can get, I was out during that whole balloon thing from China. I was out for all of that stuff. And does it make a difference? A year later, are we going to even remember it? But there are eternal things in the world, eternal problems, eternal. And something, you're not supposed to use the word problem anymore. If you notice that, nobody has problems. They have issues. To me, issue is like Newsweek, or used to be. There is no Newsweek now. I know there's a website that calls itself that, but they bought the name. And it's, that's just how the news works. It's a brand now. So, the world changes because the changing world is good for ratings. The main things stay the same. I missed, I was out for the whole beer can thing, so I don't think that's going to, This is the last thing in the world I needed lying around with the flu was hearing people talk about beer. I was nauseated enough as it is. They didn't need to hear about beer. And that's just, so I had to put the radio away. Naturally, I don't have a television set because to me, television is just intrusive. I don't deal with that. I spent too many years in the media business to not know that they're really out there to try to just hurt you and try to scare you and try to keep you off balance. There were several big media firings while I was holed up here in the International House of Sneezing. Is what it turned out to be, and let me understand that, yeah, there's a whole industry where you have to keep commenting on what's going on in the news. And it's like when I was a little kid, and maybe a lot of you know about this too. You've done this too. All the little boys would be playing with yo-yos, and then suddenly everybody would have a top. The little kind of top that you would wrap a string around and do tricks, and then, okay, so I'll play with the top, and then a little later, everybody was suddenly playing with a Duncan yo-yo again, and I think that was just to get us all accustomed to being yanked around. I was hesitating there, looking for the cleanest way I could possibly say that, but there you go. And when you're on the sidelines, as I was for 60 days, because then other things come to mind, and I started remembering people I'd known over the years. I remembered a guy I knew from Moose Jaw, Alaska. Now, you see, where does that come up? That bubbled into my head, too. He was from Moose Jaw, Alaska, and he moved way down south to San Francisco, which to him is south. And he became a teacher of improvisational comedy technique. And he held classes in that. And the goal of that was to prepare the performer to be able to improvise for an audition so that they could get a part in a TV series. And I thought of this guy because he had one student who was incorrigible. I mean, the student just ran amok. No matter what the scene was, no matter what they were trying to do, he would just go crazy. And he said to this guy, I can't really work with you. I can't do anything with you because, I mean, you're not helping yourself by being so undisciplined. I mean, what do you think? They're going to put together a TV show just so that you can just run amok and do silly things and crazy stuff? It isn't going to happen. Well, of course, the guy's telling me this over a drink because he was drinking a lot at that time, because the guy he spoke that to was a young fella named Robin Williams. Now, that's funny to me. He said, what do you think they're going to do, Robin? Write a TV series just for you? Well, that's kind of what happened. So I guess by way, and of course the message there, and he knew it, my friend knew it, that the message is don't take advice like that. If you just do what you do, be who you are, do what you want to do in that sense. That doesn't mean, if you feel like shoving somebody out of the window, do it. But Lord knows there's people, well, never mind, let's not go there. We want to be positive and upbeat. But you see, when you're lying around in bed for 60 days and sick, and you went from the stage saying, gee, I can't wait to get better. So you get to a point where saying, I hope I don't die. And then you get to the point where saying, I hope I do die, because it's just so bad. But remember, and I mean this quite seriously, because one of the things that really irks me about people in general is the habit people have of putting themselves down. And I say that because there's a lot of people in this world who are willing to put you down. You know that. You've encountered them. You've experienced them. They have tried to put you down. So why do you want to do their job for you? But you know you better than anyone else. And I'm going to tell you this. This is the secret to it. It's comparison. Don't do that. Don't compare. Don't compare because, yeah, let's say you can't write like F. Scott Fitzgerald or Hemingway, but they couldn't write like you. You can't paint like Picasso, but Picasso couldn't paint like you. Just be yourself and don't compare yourself to other people. And what happens will happen. You'll find success doing what you want to do. And you don't need the approval of other people. That was what really killed me about so many people in the entertainment business is they really just lived for approval. It was just approval. I'm not going to mention any names except Danny Aiello, and I'm going to mention him because it's okay. There's nothing wrong with Danny Aiello. He was a wonderful guy. I knew his son Ricky Aiello. Great family, nice people. Well, I was working in a particular comedy club. And it was the anniversary. and it was like it was the 25th anniversary. It was been a long time, this club. And Danny Aiello came because he had started there as I think he was a bartender, and then they did improvisational acting, and I think you can guess what the name of the place was. But he gave a short little speech. He said, "I'd like to thank this." He thanked the place for allowing me to make $1 million a year now. Now, Danny Aiello was making $1 million a year. Okay, fine. There was one actor who was there and heard that. And for weeks afterwards, he would strike up conversations with me about the weather, about the news, about anything in the world. And he'd say, after a couple of minutes, you don't really think that Danny Aiello actually makes $1 million, do you? He couldn't handle that. He couldn't deal with that. I'm not going to tell you his name because you've seen him all over television many times, and it's just there's no point in that. But I mean, and he does have a reputation for being neurotic. However, don't beat yourself up is what I'm saying. Don't beat yourself up, because there's plenty of people out there in the world who are more than happy to do that for you. And that is my lesson in life. If I could share that with anyone, be positive. Be as positive as possible. Because, look, it is possible to have really horrible things happen to you in life and still be happy. That doesn't mean that you have to be a gibbering fool and say that, because let's face it, if something happens to you and somebody says to you, that was a blessing in disguise, that means the universe really screwed you over. So let's not get too carried away there. But the essence of being a happy person is contentment. And the essence of that is being secure. And if you find yourself feeling insecure, examine that. Ask yourself why you feel insecure. But to find out that somebody else in your field is making more money than you are, and that if that ruins your year, you're in the wrong business. That's crazy. It's like, a little news person, a person on a cable news show was fired the other day, and I'm stunned. I'm stunned. Well, of course, I spend a lot of time around news people, TV news people especially, and I can tell you that the one thing that they know for sure is that every morning when they wake up, they have a very good chance of being fired by the time the sun sets. It's just that's the nature of the business. And they'll get hired somewhere else. If being fired stuns you, there was another one who was fired a year or so ago from the same place, and he had to go into therapy over that. Usually I would go into the unemployment office when I got fired, but it didn't occur to me to go into therapy. But you see, this is because the people are beating themselves up. They identify themselves with their job and with their success, and you're never going to be successful like that. You're never going to be that successful. There's always going to be insecurity. I'm not going to mention names, but there was an actor I knew, and I'm not mentioning names because I'm such a kind-hearted person. I'm saving it for my book. No, I wouldn't do that then. But I knew this guy who was a hardworking actor, very hardworking actor. And all he wanted was to be in the original cast of a hit Broadway show, because then you can clean up financially. And he did it. He did it. And he was in a big hit, got a Tony Award that year, the award, the big one. And he was sitting on top of the world. And I happened to be at his table at a restaurant with a bunch of other people. And his agent came by, and after he, and I'll clean the obscenities up here, after he achieved his life's goal and got himself a starring role in a hit Broadway show that he got a Tony Award for, he turned to his agent and he said, "Now do you think you can get me a movie?" So you see, this is why I have no ambition. I really don't. And the funny thing is, once I stopped having any ambitions in life, everything I wanted in the world came to me. Go figure that one out, right? I'd like to write a book about not having any ambition, but in order to write a book like that, you have to aspire to do it. And how are you going to write? How do you aspire to write a book about dropping all your aspirations? See, that's a bit of a tough one there. But you see, I'm going to come out like a hypocrite no matter what I do. But at least, at the very least, you can have dreams. We all have dreams, but don't let the two things. Don't beat yourself up, and don't let your aspirations and ambitions become your reason to exist, because then you are going to be disappointed and you're going to end up hating yourself. And you don't want to do that because you're stuck with you. Hating yourself is not going to be a good solution. And these are the kind of things that were playing through my mind for the last 60 days. And like I said, hey, I said at the top, I may just be able to talk for an hour because I'm so backlogged mentally. I missed you guys. I missed it. I missed the whole thing. I'm very sorry to all the people who had tried to schedule readings with me, but it was impossible. There were some people who ordered some books, and of course, the best way to get books, I was telling them, was, to go to mojoacademy.org and get them directly from the printing plant, because if you get them through, let's say, Amazon or contacting me, you probably would have gotten a surprise bonus with your books, which was a bucket load of viruses. You don't want that. I don't like mailing things to people when I'm sick, but I'm better now, theoretically. The question is, will I be back next week? Tune in next week to find out. But we're here now, and we're going to make the most of it now. And I am really thrilled to be back. I had a miserable 2 weeks, but I was looking forward to this moment, and here it is. Now, was that ambition? Maybe. It's a small ambition nonetheless, but it might have been let's say it's an aspiration and not an ambition. But those are the things that I was thinking about, which is, as I was reflecting on what the comical opera that passes for my life, don't be ambitious. If you now, aspire to not being not being ambitious, of course, is an ambition. So it's a treadmill, you see. But you'll see what I mean when you work on that, because you have everything you need now. Anything else is icing on the cake. Now, that said, icing is a lot of fun. So I'm not putting that down, that's for sure. I love successful stuff, but the key is to not see yourself as a failure simply because you didn't get something that you didn't have much of a chance of getting anyway. See what I mean? Because these things can happen to anybody. That's an old saying in the theater, by the way. You can play to an empty house, or you can become a big star. Becoming the true people who became big stars understood, who maintained their mental health, understood that could happen to anybody. So there you go. Well, listen, we have got the whole rest of the show ahead of us, and let's do some reading. You know what I'm doing? I'm babbling because I'm feeling insecure, because I haven't done this for 2 months, and I have this little nagging voice in the back of my head that says, suppose you forgot how tarot cards work. But that's not going to happen, because we're here tonight. And if you want to know more about what I do, if you've never heard me before, this is surely a weird introduction to me. But you can learn more about me at magic-works.com, MAGICK works.com, and there's like 100 pages of information there, and I add to it all the time. I did manage during my illness to put up a new celebrity horoscope, although this is not really a celebrity. This is a notorious person in a sense. I put up a horoscope for Hunter Biden. It's a birth chart for Hunter Biden, and that's worth reading. So you go to magic-works.com and look at the horoscopes there, the celebrity horoscopes, and you'll find some interesting stuff there, and you'll also find out how you can get your own birth chart for the astounding sum of nothing, absolutely nothing. Take advantage of that. So let's do this. Let's get back to the way we used to do it. Ring the bell 3 times to declare sacred space. Look at that. I just cut the tarot cards just to see what the feeling for the night is going to be. And I got the sun, which is health and happiness and healing and growth. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So here we go. We're now in sacred space, and the cards are all shuffled up. And we're going to get to our first reading, which is, let's see, Sierra in Milwaukee. You know something? I saw that, and I thought that was the place. I was trying to find the name. So I'm sorry. That must happen to you all the time. But hi, no, now,
Yeah,
wait a minute.
nice to meet you.
I almost said hi Sierra and hi Sierra, which is another. There was a waitress at a comedy club named Leah, and every once in a while the comics would say hi Leah, and then they'd start laughing because they realized they mentioned a racetrack, hi Leah, and she would look at them and said, "Yeah, that was funny the first 2,000 times." So you just brought that to my mind because I was just about to say hi Sierra, but hello Sierra, how are you tonight?
Hello, I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm glad to be here. That's it. I was knocking on heaven's door there for a while, but I'm back, and
I'm
this is
glad
my
you're here
first
with
show in
us.
2 months, and you're my first experimental subject in 2 months. So experimental, I
Alrighty.
mean, to see if I know what the hell I'm doing, right? So what can I look at for you
Right,
tonight?
right.
What can I look
I
at for you?
actually had two questions. Well, career-wise, I'm thinking about leaving my current job to something new, and I'm kind of
Okay,
iffy
wait,
about that.
stop right there, because I just cut the deck when you said that, and I got the page of rods. The rods are career, and the page is the appearance of something new. So you're on the right track here. And the two of rods is here, so that's about getting the two of rods is about waiting for the results of something that you've done career wise. So yeah, and I also have the eight of cups, which is about walking away from something that isn't working for you and going to something better. So the cards are all showing that's very good. They also have the seven of cups here, which shows me that you have a really strong imagination, and that's good because you can see possibilities where other people don't.
Yeah.
Um, that's good. That's good. So all of these things. The reason I stopped you there is because it's showing me exactly what you're talking about. So I'm going to see. There, I've got it again. That's the sun. That's the card I had earlier. That's good. Health, healing, growth, happiness. Yeah, you are on the right track. You are getting something new is going to work out well for you.
Okay.
Now, there was another question you had.
um, I've been single for 2 years, and I'm about ready to start dating, but I haven't met no one interesting.
Okay, let's see what we've got here. Now, because, I mean, you're going to get it. I'm sure these cards are going to answer it because the first thing was right on the money. That the cards really responded to you there. So let's see what we get. Okay. Here's the Three of Cups. And that's interesting. Because that means that when it comes up, cups are about romance. By the way, you see, I told you these cards would respond to you. They're about emotions and affairs of the heart and all. But when asked about a relationship, if cups come up, that's really good. The Three of Cups is here. It means you're probably going to meet somebody through friends, but you're still going to have a little time out. That the next is the Four of Swords. The Four of Swords is about taking a break and some time out, but it's not going to last very long this time out because the Wheel of Fortune is there right afterwards, and the Wheel of Fortune is about the situation changing. The next card I have is the Ace of Cups. And the cups, like I said, are about romance. And then there's the Queen of Cups. So this is telling me that it's come. Oh gosh, here's the Four of Cups. I knew these cards would respond to you, because when you asked about career, you got rods, and then you ask about romance, and you're getting cups. The overall thing I've got here is you're going to have to wait a little bit longer, but you're probably going to meet somebody, and it's going to be very interesting, and it's going to come out through friends. It's going to be good. Let me ask you this: was that a bad relationship that you were in, the last relationship?
Yeah.
Okay, and I'll tell you why I ask you that. And I'm very delicate about that because it could be, there's so many reasons for people being single, and they're not always that. And this one I ask you because there's another cup card here, and that's the Five of Cups. The Five of Cups shows a person who is looking at three spilled cups, which is disappointment. And behind her are two other cups that are not spilled. So it's about partial disappointment. It's about something that didn't work out, but you're still a little focused on that. The person in the card is still focused on what didn't work. And at some point soon, she's going to turn around and see the other two cups, and then she'll find what she wants. So that's overall the impression I have from all of the cards. So you're going to meet somebody through your friends, but it's going to take a little while. It's not going to be terribly long, but it'll be a little bit longer than you would like. But when you do meet this person, it's going to be very good, and it'll get your mind off of what went wrong the last time, because you'll have a very good time. Here, the Knight of Cups too. That's, see, all these cup cards tell me that there is romance in your future. You can't escape it. You must be a very lovable person, right?
I am. I am. I just try to pick my battles wisely.
Yeah, well, this this is something that we all look back on, I guess, and because I think that what happened is probably the oldest question that human beings ever asked, and yet we're still asking it all the time because we don't know what happened, what hit us. Here's the Lover's card, so it's all here. It's all here. You are going to meet somebody through friends, but it'll take a little bit longer than you might be happy with. But it's not terrible. It's not like years. I'm talking about just a little bit longer than you want. That's all. But you will be meeting somebody, and it'll be a very good one. It'll be an interesting relationship because of the Knight of Cups. That's kind of up and down. It's going to be very exciting, is what I'm saying, and you'll enjoy it. But the Knights also, they refer to something new beginning. Good. This is a card I'm glad I got. It's the Ten of Swords. This is a card that says the trouble is over. Whatever unhappiness and discord and doubt and trouble you have from the way the last relationship ended, it's going to be over. You're going to be fine. Okay?
I appreciate that.
So you're headed for a good time. And it's not going to be terribly long. It's just going to feel like you're really ready to go, and it's going to be a little bit longer than you want, but it's worth the wait. Okay?
Okay. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, because it's a very upbeat, very positive reading on both scores. You're going to do well in terms of work, and you're going to do well in terms of romance. So I will light a white candle to send positive energy your way. How's that?
Thank you.
Bye-bye now. And you're listening to Reverend Eliot's Magical Window with me, the on-again, off-again host. Usually I'm a recording. And you're probably listening to this as a recording too, but a lot of people are listening live for the first time since February because I have been away. I went out to explore the world of being sick to death. That's one way to look at it. Karen in Washington is next. Hi, you're on with Reverend Eliot.
Hi.
Hi,
yeah,
how are you
from
tonight?
Wapato, Washington.
Wow, how is it out there today?
Oh, beautiful. I'm in the apple capital of the world.
Oh, brother, I just had an apple the other day, and because I believe in, eating apples, let's face it. So chances are here in New York City, my apples come from your area?
Yep. Yakima Valley.
Well, the Yakima Valley?
Yes.
See, the only thing I know about that is the great stuntman, Yakima Canutt, who was John Wayne's stuntman, and his son was Charlton Heston's stuntman, and that's where I first heard of Yakima. But wow, that sounds like such a beautiful place to be in. What does it look like when the apple trees are all blooming and growing fruit?
Oh God, beautiful. We have cherries, apples, peaches, nectarines. We're the fruit bowl.
Wow. I was just telling my wife I have got to get out and get to the store because it's about time we get cherries that aren't from South America because, down there we'll get them off season. But up here we should be getting cherries very soon, and we sure miss that. And they're good for you. Apples and cherries are really good for the health. So what can I look at for you tonight?
My health and well-being.
Okay. Well,
I just got recently diagnosed, and I'm being treated for ulcerative colitis. I've been suffering for over 10 years. I
Well,
just got diagnosed in November, but I'm so drained. I'm tired all the
yeah,
time.
well, that's what I wanted to ask you about, because as soon as you said that, the first card I got is the Chariot. And the Chariot
Mhm.
shows a person holding it in a small chariot with sometimes it's horses, sometimes it's a sphinx, but one is black and one is white. And one wants to go this way and one wants to go that way. And the person is working to keep them together and keep it on track. And that's a person who is putting in a lot of effort to be secure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's draining. I was going to ask you if you're very tired a lot. Now
All
that's a
the
duality.
time. Mhm.
We'll get to the good news. That's the duality, though. That's the white, the black. Look at the picture of the card of the Chariot on the internet sometime. If you don't have a deck of cards of your own, you take a look. You'll know exactly what I mean, because it's about a person who's really using all their strength to just keep this thing moving in one direction. The next
Yeah.
card I have is the Two of Swords. The Two of Swords represents a stalemate, nothing moving, nothing happening. You feel stuck in one position.
Yes.
The next card I have, and this is the third time I've gotten this tonight, so I'm really happy to see it, is the sun. Of course, the sun we're talking about fruit and vegetables and all of that, that the sun is the
Mhm.
source of all that. The sun is the source of all life. The sun is the source of health. And the sun card is about health and growth and happiness and recovering. So it seems to me that that's in your future. Because the next card, this is a very dull, happy reading here, right? Is the world. The card of the world means assured success. So it's telling me
Mhm.
that you're working really hard to make it better, to get through it. I really understand what you're going through from personal experience myself.
Mhm.
And because I've don't even get me started with the health problems but sometimes you feel like you are holding wild horses and trying to keep them in one direction, and that's almost not a metaphor. That's almost how it really feels. But
Yes.
but and that situation isn't going to change for a while. That's the Two of Swords, because it's reached a sort of balance. But then healing comes in the sun, and then the world, which is assured success. So I think that from these cards, I'm seeing that the situation is going to break your way.
Oh,
If you can just
goodness.
hang, if you
Thank
can
you.
just hang in there, because it's very good. It's just so the effort is tremendous, and I know that every day it feels like you're running a race, but that's not going to last. Let
Yeah.
me see if I get one more card. The Emperor. You're going to be empowered. You are going to be empowered. And there's the Eight of Cups, which means that you're going to leave the bad stuff behind you. So yes, your future is good. The problem is your present is not. But the outcome is going to be good. Just to get through, do what you need to do with your medical team and get through the present, because one day it will be the future, and you'll do well. I've
Yes.
got the Fool here. The Fool is the card of the beloved of God. The gypsies, the Romani people, believe that the person who gets if there were any negative cards in this reading, that will cancel them. See, you have divine power and divine protection. So keep that in mind. Seriously, that you've gotten this far, and you're right on the brink of a breakthrough. That's the Sun card. So hang in there,
Mhm.
okay?
Okay.
Okay. So I also, as I mentioned to the previous caller, at the end of the show, I will light a white candle to send positive energy your way. How's that?
Mhm. Thank you.
My pleasure. Best of luck to you. And I'm never going to look at an apple or a cherry again without thinking of you. Isn't that I seriously, I mean it. And I truly appreciate that.
Thank you
Bye
very
bye.
much. Bye.
Bye bye now. And hey, look at that. We passed the halfway mark, and that's because I spent time babbling at the beginning. So let's unbabble now a little bit and go right down to the next reading, which is Sarah in Montana. Hi, Sarah. You're on with Reverend Eliot.
Hello.
Hi, Sarah. How are you tonight?
I'm great. And yourself?
Well, I'm much better than I have been in the last. Like I said, I've been out for 2 months with a flu, but here I am.
Oh,
It's a little, my nose is a
well,
little bit clogged, but I'm okay. Oh man!
I'm
So
glad to hear that.
yeah, on top of that, though, we've got this pollen hitting the air now, and I have developed sensitivities to that over the years, which is my heart goes out to people who have had lifelong allergies. I had no idea how much you guys are
It's here
suffering.
too in Montana.
Yeah, well, that's life, right? That's.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wonder if humans are an invasive species, but here we are. So what can I look at for you?
Here we are.
Yeah.
I just am wondering, I'm kind of at a crossroads in my career.
Okay. Well, let's see what I've got here. Well, that's good. This is interesting stuff. Um, the Four of Cups is here. That's an interesting card. That's telling me that there's going to be an opportunity coming your way. You just don't see it yet. But
Okay.
something is happening. This is a person is looking and thinking and pondering 3 cups, and there's a little cloud off to the side in most of the decks, and a hand is coming out and holding and offering a new cup. So there's something is coming your way. It hasn't made itself clear yet. The Ace of Swords is here, and that's important because this is telling me that you are developing new ways of thinking and new ways of seeing the world and seeing yourself. Is that correct?
Yes,
So that's a tough time.
absolutely.
One of the ways that we can tell, unfortunately, that we are changing is we start losing friends. Okay, what happened to you? You're not the way you used to be. So that's
Right.
well, of course you're not. Because you're changing, but it'll be okay. It will be okay because I see after that the Six of Coins, which is a card of philanthropy in its broadest sense, but it's a card of money coming your way, which tells me that you're going to figure out what to do career-wise to enhance your income. And you're going to be good at it because the next card is the Ten of Cups, which is about a happy home and great success and joy. And here's another insight, which I think I really am happy to see, is the Empress. The Empress is a person who can make things grow and make things, combined with an imagination, the ability to make these things happen, the imagination meaning your new way of thinking, that your mind is growing. But you can translate that into action and you can make things happen. This is why the Empress card, the woman in the card, is always surrounded by fruit and vegetables and wheat and things like that, because this person can make things grow. So you are definitely, your mind is expanding for the better.
Yeah.
You're doing okay. There's an offer that's coming your way that you don't even know what it is yet. So you don't have to knock yourself out trying to figure it out. Oh, you'll know it when it comes your way. You'll know.
I've been presented with an opportunity, and I've been a little hesitant to accept it because I don't know. It's jumping into something that I don't know if I am capable of doing it. I would pretty much be carrying a company.
Wow.
But I know a lot of people love me, and I'm well loved, but also it worries me as well.
Well,
I haven't made the.
I understand because it's there was a time, and this cost me a friend, like I was saying about changing, when I was offered the chance to write a show for Broadway, which got very close to Broadway, but unfortunately didn't work. But I was
That's
hired
very cool, though.
I was hired to write it, and of course I had no playwriting experience other than I had done some sketches for some shows that were produced here and there and had some minor stuff produced. But my wife and I had a friend who majored in theater, and he was very upset. Well, why'd they pick you? What makes you think you can do the job? See, now that was the question. Why did I think I could do the job? And my answer to him is, this is what I'll tell you. And I tell this in similar situations. I think it applies. It's not my job to know if I can do the job or not. It's their job. They're the professionals, and they think I can do the job. So if they think I can do the job, who am I to question their wisdom? So I took the job. What can I tell you? And I still own the show to this day, but I don't think anything's ever going to come of it. But it was a blast. I had a great time. I met a lot of interesting people, and
That
yet,
sounds like a blast.
and yet there was always this question: why did he pick me? Well, he picked me because he saw something I had written. And it didn't hurt that the Daily News, which is the largest circulation paper here, had written an article about the show that I had written once before, but that was just like a one-man monologue thing. So you see what I'm saying is, the point is, you don't know if you can do it or not, but the people who offered it to you, it's their job to know who can do it. So maybe they know something about you that you don't, right? It's worth a shot.
True.
But there's also there is another, like I said, I'm getting signs of another opportunity coming your way. Now that doesn't mean hold off on the other thing, because I would never ever substitute the card's judgment for your own. Just beware that there's something else cooking, and keep your antenna out, because you're going to have choices, and you're going to do well. You're growing and changing, and that's a scary thing. And a lot of people can't do that. A lot of people won't do that. And sometimes sometimes in life it pays to just throw your oars overboard and see where the canoe goes, right? But you're in a good position. Yeah. You're doing really well. Here's the Knight of Swords, man. That is another good one. The Ace of Swords and the Knight of Swords, all about new activity in the mind. So you're growing. If you feel that you are, the cards are confirming that is what's going on.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm growing in every way, spiritually, and just every way in my life that you can imagine. It's definitely progressing, and it feels
powerful,
good. At times it's scary, but it is very powerful, and it is a little scary, but sometimes I just try to ignore it and just go do whatever I want, and then other times I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't ignore this. I gotta do something,
I know, and I think we're all neurotic creatures anyway, because I don't want to go into this now, only because I will talk for 5 hours if we do this, but I believe that thinking is overrated. So that's one of the reasons I'm attracted to tarot, because it cuts through the thinking and it shows us things and lets us see it. But yet, on the other hand, we have to interpret the cards, and that requires thought. So everything is a paradox. I just think that I happen to believe, in this short summary, is that everything wrong in the world today began with somebody saying, hey, I got a great idea to make things better. And, there it is. I mean, like, who knew when they were warned, actually. People were warned when they decided to put windmills out over the ocean in New Jersey, and now loads of whales are washing up dead. And they were told that would happen.
Ooh.
They were told, don't do that. You're going to mess up the whales because of the vibrations and the sound. So, it's just, I just say that thinking is overrated, but we can't help it. We're creatures who think and talk, so the thing is to moderate it a bit. And things like tarot, wow, I'm pausing because I just wanted to pull one more card for you, and this is a spectacular card. But things like tarot get us through the mental chatter and get us right to the heart of the matter. Now, this is a card that indicates that one period of your life is about to end and a new one begin. That's probably what you want, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's it's a card that scares people because of bad horror movies, but it's not a scary card. It's the Death card. And the Death card has a sunrise in it. The sunrise indicates that this is the end of one period in your life and the beginning of another one. And that's a marvelous, marvelous thing to have. I don't get that card very often, but you are at the cusp of so much wonderful change coming soon. So this is a very good time for you. Trust yourself.
Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it.
You got yourself this far. You're going to get yourself further too. My pleasure.
Absolutely.
Thanks for calling. Bye-bye now.
Yes, thank you. Bye-bye.
Hi. Let's see. Let's see if we can get another one in there because, gosh, I'm having a great time reading here, which is I've been so isolated from humanity for 2 months that this just feels great. Are we going to Kristen in Islip next?
Yes. Hi, how are you?
Oh, hi. How are you doing, Kristen? Hi.
I'm good.
Oh,
Thank
you're
you.
a neighbor. Out in Islip, New York. You're a neighbor. I'm just off Times Square here in Manhattan.
Oh, okay. Just a short little train right away.
Yeah. So if we survive it, the way things are going in New York these days,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's really not that bad. I look at other cities and I see that we're not. I know they say New York is the safest city, big city in the country, but it isn't actually. The stats show quite otherwise. But we're
I
not as
agree.
bad either. We're slam in the middle there. So anyway, what can I look
Yeah.
at for you tonight?
I was hoping to maybe connect with my mom if possible.
Okay, I'm assuming that she's passed.
Yes.
Okay, is that recent?
It's been 5 years, 5.5 years.
Okay, that's in the scheme of things, that's nothing, right? Let's see.
Feels like forever, but yes.
Yeah, well, that's this is just something I never did before. I got into doing tarot on Ask One Radio. I never thought of doing that kind of a reading, and I figured, why not? Let's give it a try. And I've had wonderful results with it. And I can tell you that they're almost all. I always get the same thing, which
Really?
is sadness followed by happiness. And I try to look for direct messages, but there are a few cards that I look for to see if I'm actually getting a message, like obviously the death card or the judgment. Well, here's the judgment card. I was just saying the judgment card. Now I've got that because pictorially it shows a resurrection. The angel blowing a horn and the souls coming up out of the grave. So let's say that is verification that we are going to make contact.
Okay, great.
And I'll shuffle them again. And
he was saying that she was being judgmental of me.
Let me do this, because here it is again. I got the Three of Swords. The Three of Swords shows a heart pierced by three swords, and the heart is crying. See, there's great sadness.
Okay.
But yet and then I get the High Priestess, which is also a card I look for to verify these readings, because the High Priestess is the person who can see behind the veil, meaning the veil between this life and the next.
Right.
And then I have the World, which is a card of success, which is telling me that the spirit feels a degree of achievement at this point.
Okay.
I can't understand these three cards I just got in any way other than this is a message, because it's almost statistically impossible to get these three cards one after the other. I have the Ace of Cups, the Ace of Cups, the Ace of Rods, and the Ace of Coins. To get three aces at one time like that goes against the odds.
Wow.
Aces mean new beginnings.
Okay.
Now, a new beginning. I'm a little flustered because it's just mind-blowing to get these three cards like that. It's telling me that the message is that there's new things coming your way in terms of emotional stuff like romance and well-being and happiness. And then the rods mean work and career and how you earn a living. And then the coin, the Ace of Coins, that speaks for itself. It's about money coming in. Money matters. Right. So there's going to be new things happening and successful things happening for you in those three areas. That is,
okay.
That seems to be the message, But again, the first thing was I'm sad. And then the second one was the card of success, and yet I've gotten through this all right. And now on to you is what the cards are saying. Look for the message I'm getting here is look for good things to come your way in terms of emotional life, financial life, and work life.
That all makes sense, actually.
Well, I'm glad because, when I do these kind of things, I feel like I'm getting something coming through me, through the cards,
Yes.
and I don't need to know what it's about. I'm just saying,
Right,
I'm
right.
just, I'm still a little flabbergasted that I got one after the other, the Ace of Cups, the Ace of Coins, and the Ace of Rods.
Yes, absolutely.
Because, like I said, the odds are way against getting three of those at once.
Right, right.
So this followed the pattern. There's the sadness because the loss, we experience the loss. So do they when they go over.
Right.
Uh, I'm look. I hope to stick around as long as I can, but I'm really curious about what happens. And of course, I mean, you can read Omar Khayyam. The only way to know is to go. And I'm not that eager to learn at this point, but I will be at some point, I'm sure. But
Yes.
it's always tinged with sadness and yet happiness. So
I believe that. That makes sense.
so you're entering a good period. A good period. See, now here's the Nine of Swords. That's a card of sorrows. And then that's followed. Well, was your mother a very religious person?
Off and on.
Because I have the Hierophant here, which is a card of religious authority. So who knows? Maybe the spirit is learning about these things. But I'm going to take those three ace cards as meaning that's the spirit's message to you, is that you're about to get good stuff happening your way in terms of these three areas of life.
Okay, great. Definitely use all three of those.
Yeah, great. So that's. You can always follow up and let me know how it works out, and I'll be happy to pull a few cards for you. My email I'm so easy to find, but my email is asktarot@earthlink.net. But I'm easy to find through just Google Reverend Eliot's Magical Window, and you'll find loads of ways to find me. There's a contact form at my website. You can get through to me through askonradio.com, all kinds of stuff. But I'd be interested to know how this works out, because that's one of the most unusual afterlife readings I've ever gotten. And whoa, I was just about to say the only thing missing is the Ace of Swords. Guess which card I just got? The Ace of Swords. Now you see, there are people who don't believe that I do this anyway, and I've been threatening for a while now to move over to video, and then you people can see the cards, and yet still people are going to say, well, you're just doing card tricks, But no, this is the real deal. This is authentic. When I started reading tarot, somebody I had known at that time for about 25 years told me, well, you're just doing card tricks. And I said, you've known me 25 years. Have I ever done a card trick? You never saw me do a card trick. But no. So listen, here it is.
And I heard it in your voice. You were doing it too. I heard like the shock in your voice.
Yeah, I so much for I wanted to be cool, but I couldn't do it. And now with this Ace of Swords coming up, so you got all four of them. You got all four. So what the message, there is a direct message here to you, which is that every aspect of your life is going to be getting better. Okay, I've got to run. I've got less than 2 minutes to go. So please, if you want to get in touch with me at any point, do that, and I will. Yes, I will. Thank you so much. Do a little follow up for you. My pleasure. Bye bye now.
Thank you. Bye bye.
And hey, that's it, folks. That's it for this edition, the actual, real edition, not just the rebroadcast edition of Reverend Eliot's Magical Window. My first in 2 months, and we can kiss that flu goodbye, and hope that I can keep my vitamin content goes to bat. But sometimes the old body just gives in to those little viruses, and there's nothing you can do about it. So we will get together next week again. We will. But in the meantime, like I said, you can email me. Any of you want to have a couple of cards pulled on the house, that's fine with me. The email is asktarot@earthlink.net, asktarot@earthlink.net. And check out my website, magic-works.com, and you'll see a whole bunch of stuff there. So until we get together next week, remember, time flies. It's up to you to be the navigator. Bye-bye now.